What up, Buzz? You tapped in? Okay, Goose, you tapped in too? All right, Chicago, y'all tapped in? All right, boys, let's crack 'em. Feel like Mike in the fourth with the ball in my hands and I'm taking a shot. I'm the king in the madhouse on Madison, whether I make it or not. Now the crowd going crazy, they watching the play and I'm watching the clock. Got my shot in the air and the buzzer go off and I'm watching it drop. This team did things. MJ shot City 6 rings. D-Rose too big, too fast, too strong. History, and we good on that. Put Jilla on the track and we good on whack. 3, 2, 1. Everybody say Bulls on tap. Bulls on tap. Our city pretty and gritty. Benny the bull in the crowd getting hyper and litty. Me, I'm so drippy, it's slippery. Nothing offends me. Banners on banners, we winners. We got the stats in the news. Go and subscribe. Hang out with Buzzy and Goose. Tapping with us, we the truth. Jilla just murdered the booth.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Bulls on Tap. I'm your boy Buzz. I'm joined by my dude Goose. We're here after a Chicago Bulls victory against one of the best teams in the Western Conference. Bulls come back and beat the Minnesota Timberwolves 129-123. Before we get into this one, be sure to go on tapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. Following us on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, Goose on Tap, Buzz on Tap, Bulls on Tap, Sportsnet. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, you listen to us, 5-star rating and review because that's cool and tough. Go to the YouTube, subscribe to it, because that'd be very nice to do. Goose, all right. Tweeted before the game, this could be the last time we see DeMar DeRozan, Andre Drummond, Alex Caruso, one of those guys in a Chicago Bulls uniform. And this game starts off pretty terribly where the Bulls are getting their asses handed to them in the first half. Basically, Stacey King fawned over him. Anthony Edwards just had taken over the first half of this game. Bulls come back in the second half. As far as the third quarter goes, they look like crap again. In the fourth quarter, it looks like they come back with Kobe White, as you pointed out, hitting 6 3-pointers to lead a comeback charge to then get into overtime and take a win here. I packed a lot into that essay.
That opening?
Spoke. Yeah. What's going through your mind right now on what could be the last game of DeMar and Drummond and Caruso and these guys?
Mainly a lot of weird mixed emotions because obviously the second half of this game, this team does come to life. After the first half, they played like a team that was ready to part ways and split apart. And then they come back against one of the best defensive teams in the league, have a big third quarter, and then close it out in the fourth to tie this game. Karl Anthony Towns was hitting threes left and right. Anthony Edwards seemed unstoppable and had me jealous the majority of the night that we seemingly don't have a player of his caliber, even with Kobe White doing the things that he's doing. You still don't know if you put him on that tier. But then Kobe comes out and he starts dancing and draining 30-foot threes after struggling in the first half. And DeMar had, I believe, 18 points at the free throw line.
17 points off of 18 attempts at the free throw line tonight, Goose, for DeMar DeRozan. 33 points overall for him.
So DeMar kept getting to the line, and the Bulls ended up closing this game out, which it was a culmination of Drummond playing great, having a lot of great moments. Obviously, somebody you mentioned being on the trade block, Caruso doing the dirty work as always, whether that was blocks or steals. And
you get people going tonight too, Goose. 6 assists for Alex Caruso tonight as well.
Nice. No, I mean, and then DeMar, as much as many Bulls fans were disappointed to once again see Billy call his number with the final shot for a game-winning attempt, tied at 115, does go into overtime, and for whatever reason, Kobe doesn't get the ball. Disappointing. But DeMar closes this game out. It's a couple big shots, ices it at the line, and it does leave that taste of what if in your mouth. This roster is missing $60+ million worth available cap space allotted between Lonzo and Zach LaVine, and it's hard to think that there couldn't be something positive that could have been done with that otherwise. Obviously, Zoe injury was unforeseeable, and paying Zach felt like the right thing in the moment coming off of a couple of all-star appearances, but right now that $60 million sitting there feels really weird because this team should probably get broken up. But after a game like tonight, I don't want to be the one that tells these guys that they're getting shipped out of town.
Yeah, no, that would be tough. Let's also give some flowers to Billy Donovan for on the fly adjustments tonight, too. I know people have been crying all year, and I'm going to say crying because it doesn't work in every contact, in every situation. But Drummond and Vooch starting next to each other was a big response to having Gobert and Cat come
Bulls
at.
had more blocks tonight than they've had in about a decade.
Right.
So obviously situational matchup kind of decision made by Billy, but with Pat out, potentially TC being down again after kind of playing past his minutes restriction and retweaking that right foot. Hopefully looked more like ankle related than plantar fascia, like he was dealing with prior. But with no available wings, if this roster stays the way that it is and Acme hibernate through another trade deadline, we might see more Drummond and Vooch just because you don't have many options outside of playing Caruso at the 4.
Well, we absolutely shouldn't. We absolutely shouldn't. You're coming off a high game here where these guys played with high intensity. I mean, Drummond and AC were, obviously from the word jump, we're on fire. Okay. I put out a tweet the other day, and I still mean it, even after seeing Lonzo come back and everybody smiling about that, and him getting some workouts in and all this shit. There is one person on this roster, and I love Io, Julian Phillips. I like this kid a lot too. But there's one person on this roster that should be untouchable. It's Kobe White. And after a game like today where DeMar DeRozan shows his worth of being able to get to the line, that is a good thing for playoff teams. A very, very good thing.
Jimmy Butler has made his name on it and made the finals to it on it.
Exactly. And you have DeMar come in where he's shown you this year that he can play and still be effective within the system, but then also take over a game when it needs to be done. I mean, this could be a swan song that you couldn't make up for guys like him and Andre Drummond. I don't want him to move. And it's like the whole conception around us, being negative Bulls fans or whatever. It's just like, it's not that. We just know what this team is at this point. I've seen a lot of talking on Twitter.
The Bulls have 1 second-round pick between now and 2028, and it comes in 2028.
Yeah, I mean,
they owe a first-round pick to the Spurs for DeMar. I believe top 5 protected. So after this year, you have another pick that's going out. You need to get something back for DeMar if you don't feel that you're going to re-sign him.
Oh, I know a lot of people don't want it to be for second-round picks, but I mean, the way that you see these flying around in trades either, then why not? Like, if you can't get a person, you got to go for a second. Like,
if you're going to give me 3 or 4 second-round picks and expiring salary for DeMar, do it. You need to recoup something. You need to save something going into the offseason. A sign-and trade just isn't as likely because the teams aren't going to have to allot for a big cap number to get him. They're going to give him an exception, and they're going to get him on their roster, and they're going to contend.
What do you think about the rumor about DeMar in Orlando? Because the Philly one was debunked very quickly. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, no.
Today's
note on that was very weird. Philly previously rumored not at all interested in DeMar headed to the deadline.
Yeah, but like even 12 hours before that, it was just like Philly, man, they're willing to give up a first round pick. This trade deadline has been so fucked. I can't tell. And then you have all these people that are like verified on Twitter, tweeting shit. You got to click on everybody's name because everybody's fake. Yeah, because
you don't know who's actually verified because they just paid $8.
I'm old man yelling at clouds right now, dude. They're fucking faking me with their stupid ass fucking check marks.
Yeah, no, it's definitely deceptive. The Twitter space that turned into the X is not the place that we once knew and loved. It's a little hard to navigate at times now, but it's just really weird to be in the position that they're in because the team isn't bad. And after Zach went out and this team kind of found their groove and kind of reestablished an identity, they have been enjoyable in stretches to watch. But I think the only thing that's clear, which you just pointed out, is that this is Kobe White's team. And the only thing that's good about this situation is at the end of what I hope is the end of this Bulls era, I feel like this is more Kobe White's team right now in this moment than I have the whole entire continuity era between Zach and DeMar. Kobe has firmly taken the reins to the point where it's being demanded that he's getting the closing attempts. And granted, people haven't really trusted Zach with his questionable decision-making at the end of games. So harder to kind of take the ball out of DeMar's hands after seeing all the game winners that he's given to this franchise in the time that he's been here to give that to Zach. But I feel more confident right now in calling this Kobe White's team than I had any clear indication of whose team it was between Zach and DeMar the whole last 2.5 years.
I don't know if that's like a praise towards Kobe White or a slight towards what we've kind of seen. And Billy needs to wear some of that too, because you got to establish whoever that guy is. And when you're not playing cohesive and you see those growing pains happening, I like what you said there. I guess, I mean, they're bad right now. And when it's somebody's team, when you're bad, you're just kind of looking at, what can that bad add? Like what part of the bad is salvageable and keepable. And I will agree with what you said. And that's why I tweeted it. Kobe White is the only thing that I'd keep on this team. Contracts friendly, talent is there, starts slow against the best team in the West, comes out in the second half and fourth quarter. I mean, more importantly, and comes out and brings you back from the dead to win a fucking ball game that quite frankly, you had no business winning. No. Especially with how you started. It's clear to me, if you're going to keep anybody and it being Kobe White, then start putting some pieces around him, start putting some young assets around him, or start trying to get picks to put around him. Kid's 23. Okay.
Kid's 23.
He might be there to be able to go with you through this bullshit of getting into the 2024 NBA draft or the 2025 NBA draft.
You get to continue to develop him into a potential future all-star on a team-friendly contract while putting pieces around him. And hopefully by the time you have to pay him again, you have established a roster with other guys on decent contracts, younger guys still on rookie deals that you can build a foundation with and build around him. Because right now he seems to be the only savior for this team with no real way out of Zach's deal right now with the season-ending injury. And you've got to move Caruso, Drummond, and DeMar, because two of them are not coming back next year if you don't move them. That's going to be Drummond and DeMar. As happy-go-lucky as this team can feel at times, those guys deserve to be on contenders. They will be on contenders. The Bulls are no longer that. That window has more than closed at this point, even if Zoe comes back.
You think he gets timing? Is it going to be what we said in the last episode where he gets the run next to Zach LaVine, or him and Kobe White and Zach next year? Because, I mean, that's what it's kind of looking like at this point. If they don't move Zach, and if Zoe's not.
If they don't move Zach and Zoe's healthy and Kobe's here, that's probably what you have to do, because you have to play Zach back into value. You can't just let him sit there and rot and expect to get anything positive in terms of value for him. And luckily with that scenario, Zoe isn't really your traditional drive and kick point guard. He's a connector, he's a spacer, and he's a defender, which is where the hope for him to return to form is still somewhat there, despite kind of the perspective of the injury and the surgery that he's gone through and returning from that. But I do think if that's the situation that you're stuck with, that's doable, it's livable, because Zoe is a two-way player, gives you kind of what Caruso's giving you this year, with a little bit more playmaking, if he is the same player or close to the same player that he was before.
Have you fucked around with any mock trades at all to see what it would look like if DeRozan ended up with Orlando? Because I saw Orlando was a potential team that was interested in him. I think he'd actually be good for a team like that, dude, because they're so young. They could use that.
I mean, he'd be good for them the same way that he's been good for us.
Right.
He can still contribute to winning. He is a steadying hand, and he is a veteran presence that a young team like that could definitely use, especially since they do seem to be the tier above the Bulls in terms of being competitive and ready for the playoffs. Him coming in there definitely adds to that for them, as where for the Bulls, I don't know that much changes. Well, no, a lot will change if Tamar's traded. That's a lie. Well, there will be big changes, but for us, that means more touches for Kobe and more moments for Kobe at the end of games. And I think right now that's more important for this team than seeing DeMar linger until he walks out that door.
It was reported the Bulls were wanting a good player and a couple first-round picks for Alex Caruso at one time, and then just going down to first-round picks for Alex Caruso, multiple of them. If you're Acme and you get a phone call tomorrow for one top three, I won't even be that up here, it'd be lottery protected, one lottery protected first-round pick in 2026 for Alex Caruso, are you going to take that deal?
No. And it is so – the Caruso thing, it has to be a multi-asset deal for him. He contributes too much to winning on the contract that he is on to be denied that. The rumor was they want OG Anunoby type value.
Well, yeah, but that was like literally that was RJ Barrett, IQ, and like was it one first round pick or two?
Somebody shared a production chart of Caruso's career and OG Anunoby's chart. They're damn near identical at this point of their careers in terms of impact.
Not scoring the rock wise.
Not scoring the rock wise, but in terms of impact to winning, and then you factor in the contract. Obviously, RJ Barrett is a good player, but his contract was somewhat seen as a negative, originally being that poison pill deal. So do I expect that type of return? No, obviously Jonathan Kuminga is out the window.
Golden State's they're not letting him go. The Bulls had a chance for Kuminga.
Yep.
Last trade deadline, last offseason that passed us prior, and probably up until about, I don't know,
a month ago.
Yep. That kid is just he's blown up, and it was something that everybody with fucking two eyes could see that watched Golden State basketball. I've been telling you about that kid for a while.
Well, since the Ignite, most people know.
Oh yeah, that's where I watched him on ESPN Plus, is because that was a shameless free ad. But yeah, that kid's unbelievable. The fact now it's translating. Of course, he's got Steph Curry to do it with. That makes it easier. But what he's doing, he's showing you he can shoot at a high percentage. He can put the ball in the fucking net, and the kid kind of gets his teammates going with him. He looks. So again, it's very easy when you have shooters around you in the style game that he plays. But that would have been a very intriguing option to have, and that's out the window.
You find me a different rookie that was taken in the top 10 that has a similar matching salary to Caruso, and you attach a protected pick to that, and that's something that I think the Bulls have to take without question, just because of where you're at. You're gonna pay Caruso $20 million. To get him.
That is I mean, I shouldn't even say it like that. I don't mean to sound like such a dick, but God, that is a lot of fucking money for. I mean, listen, I love AC to death, man.
And that's even if the dude isn't crazy enough to be like, I would leave $10 million on the table to go play for a contender instead, because that's the kind of mindset that dude has. Oh, you're offering me 20 mil? That's fine. I wish the Lakers would have offered me the contract you gave me originally, because I'd still be competing for championships right now. But your extra money doesn't mean anything to me.
Andre Drummond, Philly, I feel like is going to be a landing spot for him, considering Joel Embiid is now hurt, and they are really struggling at the center position right now. I know Mo Bamba got some run over there. It wasn't a long amount of run, but I know that he got some run as the starter.
So obviously, that's a familiar destination. Drummond has been Embiid's backup once before, despite their awkward kerfuffles in the beginning of their careers, or Embiid's career. They did play well together, and with Joel's injury, obviously their need for Drummond is rather high right now, and he's shown you what he can do in a starting capacity in short runs this season for the Bulls. And obviously he's a 29-year-old ex-All-Star on a veteran minimum contract. One of the few guys that can give you 20 points and 20 rebounds with his eyes closed. So
it's a very big night for him in his start next to Vooch. 7 for 13 for Drummond tonight. He scored 16 points. He had.
I feel like those 6 misses were all on one possession.
Probably were. He had a couple of those tip-ins. Yep. He had 4 blocks tonight. He's got to be a season high for him in blocks. Vooch playing next to him. Let's read off some stat lines here. 10 for 16 from Vooch tonight in the victory. 2 for 4 from downtown. I felt that he was very timid in his play all night long. It did kind of change there in the third quarter. They started looking to him a little bit more.
He did hit a couple big threes to end that game. Actually shot 50% from deep today. For somebody who's shooting sub 30% on the season. That's not a bad sign.
No,
you need it, especially when Karl Anthony Towns is just straight stroking them in your face.
16 he took. He took 16 threes. Minnesota blowing that game is, I mean, it's just so fucking typical.
Minnesota has the weirdest roster construction I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, but it's effective.
It's worked, but
they also have a fucking superstar. And they have a legitimate. Anthony Edwards is going to be top 4, top 5 best players in the NBA in 3 years.
No, I don't think that's even a crazy take.
Yeah, it's not.
That might be a lukewarm take.
Yeah, he's that fucking good. Anthony Edwards is that good. I watched the kid in person once. I try to watch as much Minnesota ball as I
It just
can
looks
because,
so effortless. It's not fair.
well, and that's exactly what Stacy was saying. And you know, he's literally like a master of nothing out there, but he's so good at it all. He's so good at playing defense. He's so good at his dribble moves. He's so good at anticipation. He's so good with his jump shot. He's so good with his fadeaway. Now he's good with the three. I mean, he's going to become great at one of those things. He's just very, very good right now. It's easy to win when you have somebody like that. Listen, Cat's a multiple-time All-Star. I know that he gets a lot of
43% from three this year.
Well,
Obviously, Gobert is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate every year. And Mike Conley started this game off stroking threes for them, and I forgot that he was even on their team.
I'll tell you something right now. Mike Conley is the weirdest old guy in the league to me right now, because he's, old guy being a couple years older than me. It's my God, is that sad?
It's year 17 in the league, though, so that's still crazy. When
that's what I'm saying.
About anybody not named LeBron. He's
been around for a long time, and he's contributing in winning basketball alongside these young kids that he's been paired with. He's not going to be there for long. They're going to get another point guard in here who's going to be a little bit more effective and not as an offensive liability.
It's been hot after their boy Tyus to come back.
Well, could you imagine him over there right now with these guys? I think that would be such a great fit.
Well, especially since they have continuity there.
Why does nothing work here? It's like, oh, it worked for Minnesota. Are you fucking kidding me? Minnesota?
Watching the Timberwolves and the Knicks both be extremely good at basketball right now is really weird.
Yeah, my goodness, man. The Knicks, too. How unfucking believable. Jalen Brunson, MVP candidate. That's – and a legitimate MVP candidate, too. Not just some bullshit like, oh, we're going to throw somebody in there.
Yeah,
no, he's a legitimate MVP
Please nobody go dig up my Jalen Brunson, Zach LaVine tweets, because I'm sure they're out there when those contracts got signed. I know they're out there. I don't want to see them.
Jalen Brunson is undersized, all right? But Jalen Brunson, he's an Illinois guy, all right? He's from here, dude. You know what I mean? He's a dog.
Well, the funniest thing is when the Bulls played the Knicks on that primetime game and they had Bob Myers on the cast, they were talking about the Warriors potentially drafting him in the pre-draft process, of talking to Jay Wright, and Jay Wright asking him flat out, like, why is nobody interested in Brunson? Like, he's the best player on my championship team. I understand the interest.
He was the best player on Nova.
And yeah, I understand the interest in McCall. I understand, Dante. I get all that. Josh Hart, but he is the best player on my team. Why is there so little interest in him? And Bob Myers goes, he's small. His post up is not going to be effective the way that it was in college. And it blows my mind, because in watching college basketball, you always knew that he was going to be an impactful player on a winning team, because he just played that way. Never would have put MVP caliber candidate.
I wouldn't have either. I think, I wouldn't have either.
But you knew he was going to have a successful NBA career. And I guess I didn't anticipate it to get better after leaving Luka. Like, you kind of
no, it's a good point too, because a lot of people forget about that.
Carried him a little bit,
yeah.
But it was getting his own shot as the lead guy, the lead ball handler on a team that has elevated him to the status, and obviously playing with all of his Nova boys outside of McHale doesn't hurt either, because continuity.
Fucking A. I'm telling you, man, it's bullshit.
Tibbs does the same thing over and over again, and it works. So,
well, I mean, like, OG's the new Lou.
It just depends on the kind of continuity that you're going for. It can't be two aging stars that are, all offensive heavy and Zach LaVine. It can't be that. That's not the kind of continuity that works.
Oh God, it's all very, very brutal. It's all. I watch these players, these team people that we had legitimate shots at and all that, and blossom into what they are now, and rosters that I thought were going to take at least 2 to 3 years to overturn when we were on the up and up, be at the top of the food chain now, and we're at the bottom of it. It is a fucking tough pill to swallow even a Chicago fan.
Yes, the fact that we are talking about trading DeMar to the Magic after trading for Vooch and then getting DeMar, and now we're going to help the Magic be a better team than us, that is some shit. That's worse than Zach LaVine going to the Lakers for D'Angelo Russell and nothing else.
I'd do that right now.
I still don't think I'd do that.
I know you would. I do. People hate that. I mean, they like. There's so many people that get mad at me. I can't believe you'd say that. It's like, oh, really? You can't believe I say it?
Honestly, after getting to sleep on it for a little while, as long as the moves are made that should be made, which they probably won't, I might have to write Zach LaVine a thank you letter for getting season-ending surgery because he's literally forced their hand to do what we've wanted them to do for over 2 years since Zoe went down. And
make adjustments?
Well, make adjustments and hopefully make some trades because
I was going to say the trades haven't happened yet. We are literally speculating right now.
We are speculating.
And I am
with less than like 48 hours.
I am fully fucking prepared to be on the show with you Thursday
and say that we did nothing.
And nothing fucking happened.
And
I'm fully prepared.
Because I think for once the Lakers might do absolutely nothing. I think this might be an extremely quiet deadline because LeBron just doesn't have any more tricks up his sleeves in terms of turning no assets into assets. Zach LaVine's season-ending injury doesn't help there. Maybe they go after Murray and teams kind of follow suit and the dominoes fall. But I think we might just have a really quiet deadline. Maybe Andre Drummond gets moved. But even that, for this Bulls team, if you do that, you have to do the other two.
No. If you move one,
you got to move all three.
Yes, you have to. And I think it's
right. As soon as you move one, it's fire sale because you take one of these pieces that we're mentioning in Caruso, Drummond, and DeMar off of this team, and you are not winning a game like tonight at all.
No, of course not. That's the thing. We shouldn't be fucking doing this. And that's why I get so upset. Again, we just sat on our show and gushed about Anthony Edwards for 5 fucking minutes. You know how they did that? By sucking ass, picking a lane. All right? Like ass to mouth suckage, dude. That is how Minnesota fucking did it. And we're sitting here in the middle of the pack trying to figure out who the fuck is good between 9 and 13 in the lottery because we can't get up to fucking 1 through 3. I mean, that is what you need. I mean, again.
To be fair, we had a 4 and we really didn't do very
good. And we blew that. I know. But you have Cooper Flagg in 2 years, man. You've got some players next year, but you're already fucking playing yourself out of it. Out of, getting a fucking impactful one off the bat or what they think is, because you never know what happens in the draft. It's a fucking crapshoot for everybody, but you have at least enough knowledge to base on these players, like who can help my team, who has the greatest potential here. These are around the corner with a guy in Kobe White who could be that guy for you. You need to take advantage of this moment. You need to stop being stupid about it.
You need to take advantage of the fact that you got Kobe White on a $12 million contract for the next 2 seasons, and do something to build around that while you can.
There's no reason not to. There's just no reason not to at this point. This is mediocre basketball to say the least, and you have to steal one while playing all your guys over 40 fucking minutes, essentially. And Billy's been doing a hell of a lot of that recently. They're not going to be able – this is not the NBA of yesteryear. These guys will start getting burnt out. You're going to see the injuries start piling up because, DeMar DeRozan's playing 37 minutes a game. Kobe White's playing 38 minutes a game.
Kobe can do it, but for DeMar,
for DeMar,
his game being based on getting,
and that's trying to stay in games. Goose. Pick the lane, get it done with. If it is the last game, I want to say DeMar DeRozan, my favorite signing. Oh wow, yeah. You know what? Yeah, he is. He's over Powell. He's my favorite signing of the 2000s era of basketball. And yes, I know it's been 24 years, 2 decades, but that's what I remember. And that's what I'm saying. He's been my favorite signing the Bulls have made in at least the last 15 years, Goose. At least the last 15 years has been the best signing.
No, I think the mention of Powell is really the only one that you could put up there to combat with that, with the All-Star appearances, the All-NBA, and the actual kind of potential contention that he brought to this team. But in terms of just like a standout star, a guy who pretty much came in and took over the face of your franchise, even when that wasn't supposed to happen. No, thank you, DeMar. If tonight was your last game, just the professionalism and the veteranism that he brought has allowed somebody like Kobe to blossom into the player that he is, just being that. I don't know, this feels weird to say after the whole LeBron Kyrie thing, but almost even like a father figure. Like he's an old head to that point to where for these he's Unc. He's Uncle DeMar. And
15 years in the NBA, man. He's playing with guys that have been in the NBA for fucking 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like that's that kind of value is very understated in today's NBA on a young competitive team. And we got to see that for a little tiny bit of them being competitive.
So even though it's what we're hoping for, it will still be a
I'd hate it.
moment if he's traded.
I'd hate it. I would love it because I want it, but I hate it at the same time just because I love what he's brought. Alex Caruso, he's another guy. I mean, my God, I wish we were competitive because that's the guy that comes in off your bench and does those little things that Chicago Bulls fans fall in love with. That's why he holds a ton of value. You've got to do it. You've got to do something. Again, he contributes to winning basketball. And in the NBA, you either make big signings, you either, like you pointed out in the last episode, that hasn't even happened as much. It's all about trades now. It's why you see a lot of these teams hemorrhaged out of picks because they keep making moves. So you either need to fucking hit it big in free agency with a signing, you either need to hit it big with a trade and you have no assets, or you got to hit it in the draft. Now you need to look at the likelihood of those three.
Though, even if this team was good, we're so tapped out that we ain't got stuff to trade to really improve the roster to take the next step. Like
exactly. So now you have to go between
you've got to
free
rebuild.
agency.
You've got to rebuild that cupboard, and you got to build around Kobe White.
Right. It's tough, man. It's just the reality of the situation of where they're at as a franchise right now, and it's brutal because they might be moving on from
attendance buzz. So why do we have to do anything?
Well, that's very true. One guy I won't mind. I like Andre Drummond, dude, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend Andre Drummond is.
I was genuinely surprised to see that he came back to this team on a minimum contract.
That just shows you the market for fucking traditional centers.
Yes. Even past All-Stars.
Right. I mean, he was an All-NBA guy at one point, too.
He was an All-NBA guy. He's literally going to go down as one of the best 5 rebounders of all time. And he signed for a minimum contract in his prime under 30 years old.
It's so wild. It's just that the position is not valued like it once was. And that, once you see the postseason come around, you see why he's going to get limited minutes because the pace is too fucking heavy for somebody like him.
See why you shouldn't have paid Nikola Vucevic $20 million a year.
He's infuriating to watch to me.
And tonight we can't even hate on him because he was.
I will a little bit. I felt like that first half was brutal, man. The first half was brutal, dude. The second half.
I almost took a nap too. I was ready to go to sleep.
Oh, yeah, that's what happens. You go over 30. You go over 30, and I'm at 32 now. And then, I got a couple fucking minions mixed into it, 3 kids. And you'll just sit there and on the recliner. Yeah, I have a fucking recliner now. I don't know when that happened. Probably like a year or two ago. You don't even know you got a recliner. No, I came home one day. It was there. I didn't fucking buy it. I'm cheap ass. I didn't buy it, motherfucker. This is where I sit. I sit in the corner of my basement, but I have a recliner up there. Comfy as fuck. Your boy just goes out.
You can't sit there because that just means sleep.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to put yourself in a cold corner in the basement because then you stay awake.
It's 54 degrees down here right now. You want to talk about being awake? I'm awake as a motherfucker right now. I'm talking like I did an energy drink. I'm ready to rock and roll. Likelihood we talked about in the last episode, if they stand pat or if they make moves. I feel like there's been a lot of smoke, but I feel like there's also been a lot of smoke from sources that I don't find reputable. And the reason I say that is because
fake check marks.
Everybody's got them. I'm going to say that the Bulls are going to stand pat. I don't think that they're going to do anything before Thursday. I have been let down too many times, and I'm hoping that is some sort of universal reverse psychology. That something
just
does
go in with absolutely zero expectations and maybe get surprised.
Yeah, maybe get surprised, and that's where I'm at. But again, like you said, if one of those dominoes fall, the rest have to.
Better be all 3.
It's got to be all 3.
One that is the biggest half-ass measure I've ever seen. You make this team incrementally worse, probably get minimal assets back, and then you still get the same objective accomplished, which is nothing. So, all or nothing, pick a lane. We've got less than 48 hours before we'll know the destiny of this team for the rest of the year.
And just so everybody knows, if something crazy happens, we will go live. As soon as Goose is home from work and I am home from work, something happens during the day. Tomorrow,
we home from work. We'll go from our trucks.
I don't know if I can do it off my phone.
You got an iPhone?
Yeah, I got an iPhone.
Yeah, you're good. That's what I do all the time. It's
Can you
literally.
set it? I don't know if you could set up the StreamYard on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know.
You might have to have Burke or somebody do that remote for us.
Your boy might need to look into that if they do something crazy, or we'll just do a Twitter Spaces thing.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
can
know.
do Spaces.
Yeah, we can do something fun. Get it interactive with people's
We'll,
voices and shit.
we'll be available as soon as possible when the deadline happens.
I feel like an asshole. I had the private chat thing on, so I missed all these comments for the whole fucking thing. I'm sorry, guys. I fucked that up. I was on the private one. I apologize. Ooh, Ron. Ron's here. Ron knows how to produce. He could hook us up, dude. Hi, Ron. Damn, Ron. Look at that picture. You look so fucking good to me, dude. I love that kid. I do. I got it.
Eyes in his hands with the biggest.
He's got fucking 6 pizzas in his hand, probably 72 beers deep. That's my motherfucker right there. If you want to know a dude that knows how to party, fucking Ron, no doubt. Well, you gave your parting words. I said that we will go live if anything happens. If nothing does happen and the trade deadline comes and goes, we will see you guys on Thursday evening.
I thought we got to retire if they did nothing.
We can't retire. You already know we can't. Yeah, not yet. Not yet. They keep this shit up with the losing shit, though. Yeah, I'm already depressed enough. Raise your hand if you don't want to go to your day job, then you don't want to talk about the Bulls when they lose. That's me. I'm so tired. Just fucking start winning, please. Me and Goose have been me and Tony on Tap talked about this the other day, dude. On Tap has done some really cool things in the last 5 years, and I'm blessed to be a part of it in the capacity that I am. But we have been the one show that has never gone a lineup change or like switch to a weekly format or something like that for a little bit. You know, we have literally done post games and we've done some fun episodes here and there, but it's been us two for 5 years. And they still suck, you know. It's brutal. Yeah, I love talking to you. I love talking to the people, but you know,
the fact that you said that we've been doing this for 5 years just blew my mind.
I know it's dude. I tell you, man. Like I blink and like one of the kids is doing something new. I blink and a month has gone by. Like it's so crazy. You remember when you were in school when you were a kid and you just like wait for fucking summer, man. You're just waiting for summer. You're waiting for it. Now, dude, I feel like I don't want winter, but I blink and then it's gone, and then it's summer, and then I blink again.
I used to wait for Bulls basketball.
I still do.
Now I wait for it to be over.
Oh my God. We're all about the money. That's the only reason we're here. Everybody be sure to go on tapsportsnet.com for all your Chicago sports literature and podcasting needs. Like I told you, we'll be back on Thursday after the Bulls take on the Memphis Grizzlies at 7 p.m. in Memphis. We will go live if they do anything at the deadline. Goose, I'll give you one more opportunity to say goodbye to the people.
Kobe White, this is your basketball team. Everybody else, pack your bags.
You heard the man. Trade someone, Bulls.